Hey guys, welcome to the Space Bro Show. We're live, we're here, we're doing our thing. So we have a pretty good show for you tonight. We're going to start out with a little week in review. That way we can look at what we've already seen happen this week and what's going on. And then we'll dive into some discussion points and some stuff we want to talk about. And then look to what's happening next week for us and all that stuff. So it should be a good thing. So thank you for joining us. If you're watching us live, if you're watching us later on down the road on the video thing, be sure to drop a comment in there. First off, let me introduce my co-host for this evening. We have the amazing Bacon Waffle here, as you can see.
Hello.
There we go. And we also have Zealous. Zealous is in the house. Hey, Zealous.
Hello.
All right. We'll turn this music down a little bit more. We'll get it right there. That way we can drown some of Bacon's clicking in the background. Anyway, so what we got going on here is first thing I wanted to talk about is there it is. First thing I wanted to talk about is StarCitizen24.com. We finally have launched the website. Happy to put it out there for everybody. You can check it out on your own time and all that, but that is finally up and live. We do have some contests and other things. You'll be seeing a lot of streamers that we're contacting and working with in order to get them involved on the website and get some of their videos, their Twitches, and all their contests listed in there. We hope to make it a nice database for the entire community. Just another avenue for people to use. So it should be pretty good. All right, so this week we saw actually a lot of stuff out. Just like maybe not as much content that we were all like looking for precisely as in chips, but I mean we had what? We had a lot of exposure with Chris Roberts. We had 10 for the chair, and then we had obviously a reverse the chair, and then we had all kinds of other drama happen. Then we went into an ATV. So I don't know that anything happened on 10 for the chair that I was like overly excited about. What about you, Bacon? You saw anything on that you thought was really amazing?
Not really.
Yeah.
I watched it a bit and I forgot.
Yeah, I almost by the end of the week with all the other stuff going on, I was like, I don't know what happened on 10 for the chair.
And I never knew chairs could have like 10 questions for them.
Well, exactly. That Bacon sense of humor. Zealous, did anything stand out with you from the beginning of the week? I mean, I kind of got drowned out on a lot of that stuff, so.
Nope. Nothing.
Yeah, that's the way I felt about it. So we dove in through that and reverse the chair. Though I thought it had some pretty good content in there on reverse the chair, but there was also the typical like, I don't know, and not to insult anybody that actually got their questions in, but I feel like we rehash a lot of shit all the time whenever we do the reverse the chair or reverse the verse. I feel like the same stuff, the same questions are getting through. And at this point in this stage of development of the game, I'm going to not only blame people that don't know for asking silly questions, I'm going to blame some of the CIG moderators, Disco, for choosing questions that they know have been asked 1,000 times. You know? I was like, why don't we just have a linky? This is shit we've already said down at the bottom. And send them there, and that way we can spend some of that time to get some of the other questions we want answered. You know, and I know they're doing their best, but they can just try harder. Because I know when you ask, next time you guys ask about torpedoes versus missile size, I'm going to just, like, drown myself or something. Because that's, I swear to God, it's crazy. And by the time Chris answers it, he's blown 20 minutes of conversation, so. All right,
as usual.
Yeah, well, you know, I love his in-depth, you know, moniker for all the stuff, but at the same time, it's like, come on, can we move on? We do this thing. So, let's see here. What else we got? There we go. So we had that happen. Then when we went to reverse the chair, some of the content I saw in there that I was really interested in was, I think he dove into one. Didn't it? Had it. What were we talking about earlier? We're talking about something regarding something reverse the chair. I think is it fuel. That's right. So the fuel thing. So basically, traveling in the PUs is going to be a big deal. So, you know, and to jump forward a little bit, I mean, throughout the week, basically what we've discovered this week, and we'll just mesh it all together because it was kind of hodgepodge. Like they didn't really have an order of when they discussed stuff. But between reverse the verse, reverse the chair, or reverse the verse special edition, or whatever you want to call the thing, this week we basically they've substantiated that they are no longer focused on Arena Commander 2.0, 4.2, 18, whatever. They're focused on what they should be focused on, and that's the baby PU. The baby PU where we can actually live and kind of test all the other mechanics and do all the things that are really going to be important for the development of this game to move forward on what we want to have happen as an overall MMO. So they're basically going to focus on that. And I did read the Reddit, and I saw most people are very supportive of this. There was a couple of ho-hummers who were like, well, we want our ships balanced and the dogfighting and stuff like that. And I said, you know, that's great, but I don't know about you guys, but I didn't spend my money or do my Patreon to sit around and play Call of Duty Spaceships, as Zealous would refer to it. It's fun, but I want the immersion. I want to be out there in the universe. I want to be interacting with people. I want to, you know, be mining asteroids, protecting miners, blowing up pirates, being pirated. Well, may not being pirated, but it'd be an experience nonetheless, but still. It'd be fun, right? So the large world game, I think, is really the way to go.
I don't want to be stuck in a 16 by 16 by 16 bubble.
You got that right, right? So I think that's really what we're all looking for as it's going forward. So they're looking to do that, and it'll include. And the thing is, the large world will have like the Arena Commander type stuff in it, and the Star Marine. They're all built into the world, so the same, you know, kind of elements that we're looking for in there will be in the big thing. And that's really what we're all looking for. So moving around this world, and this is the thing you touched on with fuel. Fuel was interesting, and Zealous, you said, you know, you've been around a little longer than I have for the game. You were talking about how fuel, originally they had, what, 4 types, you said?
They were planning on to have several different types of fuel.
Yeah.
Including unrefined and refined. They were going to have like a premium, like hydrogen fuel. So it's more like for, like, you know, race cars do not use like a 7-Eleven's gas.
Exactly, right. A more higher octane, if you will, of fuel in that regard. So, yeah, so basically one of the things that I thought was really cool and was how does fuel work, right? And there was lots of people asking about that during different elements in the reverse the chairs. I'll coin it, even though it wasn't called that, but you'll know what I mean by it. In SC Alpha, they talked about you'll have proper fuel consumption once that actually drops. So in the SE Alpha 1.3, they're planning with the multi-crew, there'll be 3 types of fuel. And, you know, the main types of fuel they'll have is the base fuel, which will be for basic maneuvering without boost, and that's basically free. You can't run out of it. If you're flying normally, that's just there. So it's not even really what I'd call a fuel, right? Because you're moving. It's fuel. It doesn't do anything. It's like a perpetual reactor. And then they talked about the fact as you go into more of that, you'll have what do you refer to it? Something to power your quantum drive, like the higher level of fuel. So the quantum drive's like not only for your localized boosting, for dogfighting, those type of things. It'll also be for powering up your jump drives and quantum drives, and it'll use different aspects of it, or different amounts of that based on that. So it'll be kind of interesting to see how the fuel dynamics come out there, and then you add the Starfarer element, which I think they also said the Starfarer is very far along in production, from what they said in the reverse the verse today. But yeah,
I think Starfarer being a very, very quick ship to be done, because it's going to be needed for, like, at the beginning of Squadron 42.
Correct. Yeah, you're going to need it for Squadron 42. Anything with that, and they alluded. I don't know if anybody else caught it, but they alluded to the fact that Sandy had in her part of the mocap, and that might have something to do with the Starfarer, because they started to say something about, and didn't you do the Starfarer and stuff, like, don't say anymore. They were like all hushed at each other. So I think they were, there's something about that with refueling and Sandy and the Starfarer and stuff. We'll have to see when the game comes out, but little leaks here and there. So we'll get on into all that. So the interesting aspect of, like, so you have basic, like, I don't know what else to call it besides, like, sublight speed. Of course, it sounds more Star Trek-y than anything, but you have basically speed, just people moving around, in your regular thing. Then you have your boost stuff, but then you have like what's called cruise, right? And cruise is what, that just maximum speed of your ship just moving through space.
And I don't know if you're talking about like the quantum drive or
No, they talked about there's a jump where you do the actual quantum fuel and you actually jump somewhere, but they say beyond cruise is quantum drive. So the way they did it, they said flight modes being added is precision. Precision is the lowest speed. Okay, precision's where you have landing, maneuvering, anything like that. They have, what is it? SCM, which is SCM is classified as space combat maneuvering, which is what it is right now. And then they have cruise, which is faster than SCM, but not as fast as turning. You know, you can't really turn as fast in that. So it's almost like boosted turning, I guess. So, but that's your cruising speed.
So it's more of like the safety protocols are removed and allowing your engines to put out more thrust.
Correct. So, but it's still controllable. You can still attempt turns and do stuff, but it's like moving at your maximum velocity, sub-quantum. And then beyond cruise, they say, is quantum drive. And quantum drive is the second type of fuel. It uses quantum fuel and
I think I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
When they're talking about like the progression of quantum engines and stuff like that, they were mentioning that first like engines before you actually had the jump engine was able to do like 10% the speed of light.
Yep, absolutely. So that's kind of where they're going with it. So precision's really low. Space combat maneuvering is pretty high. Cruise is faster. It's like when you're trying to get somewhere quick, but you're close enough where you're not going to blow the gas to quantum jump. And then they have quantum drive, and they say the exact words they quoted there was beyond cruise is quantum drive. Quantum drive is the second type of fuel, quantum fuel, and jump drive. The fiction with the first jump drive, there was reactor leap into quantum drive, and jump drive is a bit bigger. Quantum fuels, so it uses a lot to go jump. Which is really confusing to me, but that's pretty much what it says.
Quantum's like going really fast. Jumping is pretty much like, kind of like, I'm pretty sure like warping in the Star Trek universe.
It's a skip.
Yeah.
You warp reality.
Yeah.
You jump from one place to another within a certain distance.
And beyond that, they asked, the good question was, is there going to be a method to knock ships out of quantum drive or jump travel?
Get in front of them.
Yeah, and that's interesting because, like, in EVE Online, I know we could put bubbles, but if you warped between point A to B, and even if you pass through objects, because there's non-collision damage, you wouldn't it wouldn't pull you out of warp. But if you landed within 150 kilometers of a bubble, it could stop or drag you to it. So in this, they're saying that anything they actually have real physical path of direction, meaning if I jump from here to 3 million kilometers that way, or farther than that, and there is a spaceship between me and here, I'm going to be pulled out of drive or pulled out of jump and like stop.
The jump would be actually like jumping there from where you are. Like your spaceship has legs and jumps, but quantum's just going really fast.
Yeah, so
it would be quantum that would kick you out
exactly, because it says jump points are just like teleports, right? Almost. So they're not going to impact because there is no straight line.
It's a wormhole.
Yeah, it's a wormhole. The quantum drive is a super boosted straight line of path. So that's interesting. So blockades, things like that will function correctly. Because if you need to blockade an area, as long as it is a direct line of warp to somewhere else from, a gate or in our system or a station or something like that, you could actually blockade your opponents.
EWAR to get someone out of quantum, that would be awesome. Like you just pull them out with your EWAR and just like blow them up.
Yeah, absolutely. And then they also talked about, I think what stirred the conversation was they were discussing something about capital battles and capital ships and things of that nature. And, I'm all about the big ships. I don't mind flying the fighters, and I'm interested in every ship in Star Citizen because they're so amazingly designed and all that. But really the multi-crew is what I'm here for. And the capital ships, they basically talked about, they've got the tech in place now. They know how it all works. They got everything set up really well, so it'll actually function correctly. So now they are going to start making a shift to focusing more and more on capital ships. And then they went a little bit more into the global system ID and how they're using a 64-bit system in order to ID not only your ship, but assets, those type of things. And that's how they reduce server load from one zone to another zone with their zoning feature system. And so it's really interesting that, they're not doing like other games where they swap IDs around, where it's like if you have a red scarf and you load in logically to another server or something, it just says, oh, that guy had a red scarf before. It actually ID tags and said, this is the one red scarf that Matachi owns and is going to be in every single server persistent in the whole game, and this is the only one like it. So that's pretty cool. So that allows you to have more of a, decay and actual individual IDs. I think it's pretty cool tech that they have set up and how they're utilizing it there. So it'd be interesting. But yeah, other than that, that was a lot of stuff there. They also went into some other aspects on everything from missile size question again, which drives me absolutely insane that that's still asked. Like, if you don't know what the difference between a freaking torpedo is by now and a missile...
And it was about size of them. The question was about
size of them and the purpose. A torpedo is used for big stuff. A missile is used for small stuff, pretty much.
It's payload versus precision.
Exactly. And speed, because obviously a missile is going to move a lot faster than a torpedo. I don't know. Seems pretty obvious to me, but I'm sure somebody next week will ask it again. Like, hey, I got a question about missiles and torpedoes, and they should just say, no, we're not going to pick this question for the third week in a row to answer again.
Just ask on the forums.
Please, it's like, come on, guys. Just let's move on past this point. At this point,
and it was a sub.
It was a sub. Like, somebody who has subbed the game obviously hasn't paid enough attention. That's it. But we're not going to rag on him. Maybe he's missed, like, every week of episodes where they've asked this question repeatedly. But, yeah, it's a thing. So anyway, for all that. But, and so came out of Chris Roberts', Reverse the Verse special for subscribers as... I felt pretty good about it, even though it had about the same issues as some of the other ones, where some of the questions were and some were this. That's more a bit personal opinion than anything. It was good to see Chris in front of like the community and being directly interfaced and like answering questions and stuff like that. I like that. I want to see more of that, because for all the dumb questions, we usually get like one or two good ones in there, and then he actually gives really robust, good answers, and I like that. And if he doesn't have an answer, he just tells you straight, I don't have an answer. But if he's got an answer, then he gives you the long version, which I appreciate the long version. Most of the time. So, but when we left Reverse the chair, so to speak, we started seeing some drama pop up. And that was kind of crazy. And at first, it ended up being a DS thing where he was placating Twitter. And if you don't know about Derek Smart, he's not worth looking too much into. But basically, here's a summary of Derek Smart. He's a jealous video game producer, if you can call him that basically tries to ruin Star Citizen every chance he gets. There's really no more to it than that. He tries to find everything and calls out on it. So he leaked the news, so to speak, that CIG had lost some employees this week, and made all sorts of accusations and stuff like that, which we won't get into because we know Derek Smart makes up more shit than anybody else I know. But at the same time, it's like, the audacity of this man to like try to ruin people's careers, because he also insinuated that either the parties that left or additional parties may or may not have had something to do with like feeding him leaks about information regarding internal documentation, all sorts of stuff. It's like, there's no better inconsiderate way to torpedo people's careers by just saying stupid shit that's not true. So it's
And
whatever.
if we see a documentation of Stig, he's doing legal shit.
Yeah, it's illegal. If you're taking internal memos or how you received them, those people didn't have authorization to get those memos, so you're basically, there's legal proceedings that can come down in your head. But either way, it basically started, I wouldn't say a shitstorm, but it started a level of concern, I would say. Because, you know, seeing main CIG community interfacers leave without, not that we need prior notice, or without any hint of anything, we like literally sit down and watch a show that's got James Pugh like interviewing somebody, and it's like, oh, by the way, he's no longer with the company. It's like, wow, that's not a 2-week notice. That's get the fuck out of here. You know, so it's like, what's going on with that? And then we find out that Alyssa's gone. You know, and then the rumor that Lisa's leaving, and you know, it's like, oh, well, what's going on? So it did raise a level of concern within the community, and I can appreciate that, you know. So, you know, we saw several things go down with that, and it was like, now, so you're eliminating 1, 2, 3 people there, basically, and it just kind of caused that, and there was no response for a little while, you know. But fortunately, we had Disco get on there, and Disco and brought some sensibility back to it, and he's just like, hey, you know, we need to chillax on some of this stuff. It's not a big deal. People freaked out a little more, and when people freaked out a little more even, right, we had Toast release this little beauty of a message here. So he put on his lawyer hat, and he went down the thing, and he basically told people, none of your business, basically. It's the best way to summate these 5-paragraph toward here. And, you know, he also put it from the perspective that, you know, if we did tell you why, or we went into this, it's, you know, could screw people's opportunities up at other companies. And it's not right for us to infer it, so it's better to say nothing at all. Which, to me, doesn't mean they parted on good ways. But at the same time, it's like, yeah, you know, you don't want to browbeat people, especially, you know, we've grown to love James and Alyssa, you know, on there and all that stuff. We wish them the best. But in the end of the day, from pulling up a little more information, you know, you see stuff like this. You get people like from Polygon here. It says, Star Citizen is reorganizes teams not conducting layoffs. You know, the problem with Derek Smart, other than the fact he's an inconsiderate ass, is the fact that, like, anything happens and he immediately wants to point
goes
to, like,
to the news.
Oh, he goes to the news, and he just reports on bullshit. This entire bullshit. He's like, oh my god, you don't know it's failing now. I told you so, I told you so, I told you so. It's like, no.
So it's like, oh, so you lost some community members that not actually making the game is, oh, that's, well, you know.
Like it says in this article over on Polygon, and it's a whole thing. When they hired, right, what was her name for reorganization? I can't remember. And I remember this. Parent company, Star Citizen, let me find it, and I can't remember the gal's name. There's a person there who they hired just to reorganize things for themselves anyway. But Aaron Roberts. So, as we announced in June with the appointment of Aaron Roberts as global production head, we have been reviewing how to optimize our development process. And as a result, we are removing some jobs and eliminating redundant positions in our office. Well, shit, how many community members do they have?
A lot.
A lot. I mean, I don't know. And I'm not saying anything bad, because it's good they all have the role, but I thought it was so weird. Like, every RTV, they were telling me, well, you know, now James is going to be doing this, and Disco's do this, and I do this, and I'm like, most things just overwhelm one community manager, and that's it. Your job's the community manager. They had like 6 effing community managers at one point. And why I think they all did good work, and they all had a lot of stuff, I don't know. Maybe they didn't need that many, to be honest. I don't know. I feel like maybe they're overloaded.
It's not the first community manager that they fired. I mean, James Pugh took over the last guy.
Yeah. Did they fire him, or did they let him go? I think they let him. He left.
I don't remember.
I'm pretty sure. Wasn't that Will?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
Well, I think Will went over to another company. So I don't know. I mean, that's the whole thing. But I was so confused who's the effing community manager anyway, because I thought Ben was for a long time.
Yeah, Ben was it. And then Will took it over, and then, yeah.
And then it was James, but it was also Disco. Because everybody I talked to, or everybody that I saw in there, if I chatted with them, you know, in the thing or all this stuff, all of them were like a community manager. I'm like, well, if any job defines as redundancy, I would say there's some roles there. Because basically, they had James answering forum stuff and doing interviews. Right?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what we saw from the outside. I'm sure, James, you did a ton of other shit. But from the outside, that's what I saw. It's like, forum response in this. I'm like, I don't know. But either way, you know, we wish them the best. Hopefully they move on to get some stuff and do some things and all that good stuff. But we definitely don't, you know, appreciate the fact that Derek Smart just tries to ruin people's lives outside of this game. It just doesn't make any sense. But in the end, you know, they'll be rolling on. They'll do their thing, and it'll be all good. So, all right. What else do we have there? Big last announcement I think they had that I really saw anything involved with was they were talking about the Endeavor. They didn't give a lot of information. We know that it was really close at the time to being ready for sale. Yeah, the pricing was released, right? So we were at what, $450 for the main model, and I think how much was the Hope? I want to say.
God, I can't remember. I know that the bare bone was like $350.
Yeah, I think bare bone $350. I think the Hope was somewhere in between on that. But yeah, it's all out there and available too. As a matter of fact, I got it on the SC24 website. Just look at it real quick. I think it's right there. Yep. Yeah, so you had base model is 425. With the standard labs, the Hope was $450, and the base Endeavor was $350 with no pods. So if you had the standard labs, you could get $425. If you wanted the hospital layout, $450, and if you wanted the base Endeavor with no pods at all, it was only $350. That's good. That's pretty good. And the main reason I say it's pretty good is because, as they have been pointed out, this ship is 200 meters long. It's almost as long as the Idris.
It's only 30 meters, like 36 meters short.
Yeah, it's really, really big ship. I mean, it is every bit of a capital. So, for that price,
they call it hospitals for a reason.
Yeah, exactly, right. It's insane. But, yeah, that's going to be an interesting ship to see out there and see it flying around and stuff. But we'll see. I wonder, what do you think the sales will do on this?
I think they'll do quite well.
I do too. I think they're going to be, for the size of the ship you get, and everybody really hyped about multi-crew, I think people will just buy it and figure out what they want to do with it later. Really. I mean, consider this. I mean, for the Redeemer I got, that's over $250. For $100 more, you could have this. This thing's huge. It's insane.
And you know, and this is a multi-purpose ship too, so
yeah, they're gonna have all kinds of different pods and aspects and stuff like that. To move
I mean,
like you could grow space marijuana.
I don't know if that's something you really need, but you know, it's whatever.
Well, I was gonna go to that, but not like that. But it's like if you're a criminal organization, yeah, you can make contraband.
And
you can heal your men, and if you want it, and to
that's why I'd use it as a full hospital setup. I would.
Yeah,
I mean, it'd be a great spot. Your people could respawn. Your NPCs are going to need healed too, right? It'd be a great thing. So, like, if you have capital ships full of NPCs floating around, and you're getting a big battle, maybe on the other end of the solar system or next system over. It'd be great to have a relay point that wasn't like 16 jumps back, at like some planet where you could actually handle those crew and all that stuff. Of course, that also being said, it's a huge target then. It's a very large target for people to hit. I don't know it has any type of real defenses on it. I mean, I see a little bit here and there, but we'll see what the details are because they have announced Tuesday they're going to put it on sale. and I'm sure they'll have some sort of rollout, and they'll do the Q&As, and they'll do all that stuff. So that's kind of exciting to see that. And because they're doing this so unplanned, or didn't know, I guess it's planned, but they didn't know exactly when they'd be able to release it for the sale and get those type of images out to us. They're going to go ahead and run this, I believe, all the way up to CitizenCon. So we're going to have a little bit longer opportunity in order to take advantage of this ship if we so choose to buy it. So it's going to be good in that aspect as well. So I'm kind of excited about that.
Well, it should do a lot better than the Genesis.
You would think, but the Genesis did really, really well.
Yeah.
So, I don't know.
Well, they have good ways, and all we know is that it's going to be a hospital ship or a drug ship.
Yeah.
Well, I'm pretty sure there's going to be more than that.
I would think that with the utilization of pods, you can have just a lot of stuff like that.
Well, we also know it can be a science ship as well, too.
Yeah.
So.
I bet after the first Q&A, the sales are gonna rise for it once people, because there hasn't been much on it.
Yeah, it's all about the marketing. I mean, we've seen some cross sections, some sneak peeks, we've seen some stuff like that. I want to see some numbers. I want to see like how many NPCs/pilots can this thing handle, like in beds. What kind of advantages do you get? They haven't even really touched on what a medical bay, what the advantage of it is. We know the overall generalization, like, oh, you can heal and stuff. I mean, is there an advantage to different types of medical bays? Or certain ships more available for it? I mean, it's one of those things like that that we can really get into more and hopefully find out. I mean, it's just like also they're really working hard on the Caterpillar, right? Like the Caterpillar is going to be a pretty neat deal too, because you can section out every single piece of it all the way down. Mm-hmm. And then they also talked about that the Caterpillar, the main command module that holds all the units in place, is detachable. So you could actually like dump your cargo in GTFO if you had to, which is kind of interesting as well. Because think about this, if you're a pirate group and you're not ready to take on all the load of the Caterpillar, if you actually like dump cargo and run, they got to break open all these boxes and try to get the stuff out of it, and it leaves you time to respond. So you could jump out, reship, come back to this point of origin, and like have all kinds of fun.
No, that's the whole point of a lot of the cargo ships, that they have a way to jettison cargo.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you look at the Constellation, it has a split down to the cargo bay where it can just basically open the bottom of the floor out and drop everything. The Freelancer can kind of do that, not to everything.
And I believe the hulls can too, right? I mean,
the hulls can drop.
Yeah, you can just like detach and fly. You might damage some of the spindles.
So what you do is you just have all the spindles filled up with like explosives, and then you just start dumping cargo, and then it's a minefield.
They could spam it. They could scan it.
Would be my new mine layer. I'd laid mine through areas.
Yeah, but there's also it would cost more, but you can also prevent them from scanning it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
With shielded cargo.
I don't know. If I'm a pirate, I'd blow shit up and ask questions later myself. But that's me.
Yeah, like I said, it'd be interesting if there's going to be any nice pirates.
Pirates. Well, I mean, that's kind of what Overwatch in certain aspects will be, because it's more of a privateer type setup. But I wouldn't say we're nice. We're more mission oriented. Nice pirates that like come up and be like, "Hey guys, don't worry. We just want to take some of your stuff and won't kill anybody."
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
I don't know how nice. I don't know the gauge of what nice piracy is. I only took some of his lunch money, but I left him money for dessert. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe. So yeah. So we got that going on next week, and there's a lot of good stuff. Most of it we're just building up for CitizenCon. We will be trying to do a simulcast and watch CitizenCon together. So please follow the channel. Check us out. If you're watching this on YouTube, just make sure to link in with us here on Twitch, because we'll probably be trying to do a live broadcast on that deal. What else we got? Anything else you guys want to talk about tonight?
Not that I can think of.
Yeah, I know. It's like my head's kind of like spinning around after all this stuff. After the stream for the show, though, we will be coming back with my typical live stream. We will be interfacing with the audience. We'll be talking about everything. We'll see what's going on. If you guys want to hop on TeamSpeak too, you're more than welcome. We'll play some games, you know? We'll do all that. Just a couple more notes about next week. We got some more exciting announcements, not only for the Star Citizen 24 website. We are going to be drawing on the next Space Bro show next week for the Hornet Ghost. So if you haven't entered that contest, cruise on over to the website, click some buttons, and get in that raffle. Because last time I checked, I think there was only like 20 or 30 people that enter it so far, and you don't have to be present to win that. That's a total like email drawing, all that stuff. We'll be announcing it on the show, but it's definitely worth clicking. So if you're thinking, oh, I won't be around at this time next week to do it, you still might win a ship, guys. So it's worth doing it. So spread the word. We'll make that happen. And when that one's concluded, we'll be announcing the next one, because we're going to do some concurrent ones on there. For all the other streamers that are out there, if you're running any raffles, contests, or anything like that, or you'd like to be a part of Star Citizen 24, just get in touch with me or hit the contacts in the contact page of the website, and we're going to start showcasing and featuring different streamers during each week, and we're going to have a full contest database, so that way people can get involved in your contests and your channels, and that way they can, you know, kind of communicate back and forth. And all we ask for is you guys do a link back to us, so that way we can keep this whole thing a-rolling. Other than that, what else I got? Oh, I got an end of the month raffle coming up here on the last day. It probably won't be anything huge, but you know, our points do expire at the end of the month in my channel. So if you are wanting to blow some bro bucks, make sure you're with us on Wednesday night, and we'll be doing some brief giveaways. Then we'll also be announcing my new October. We're going to have a drawing, a month-long forum drawing on that. We're going to have a couple, probably start giving away either some starter packages, or just so we can draw in some new people into the community, we're probably going to be offering optional Steam cards as well, because we want to start drawing in fresh meat. So if you guys are main vets inside my channel, make sure you're around to help moderate, get people excited about the game. We're going to try to draw more and more people as we build up for CitizenCon. Because, you know, I love everybody. I love the 100, 200 people that cycle around all our channels. But we need to show some of these other guys outside the world of Star Citizen what this game's all about. They don't listen to all the haters, and they start coming in and watching to the playmakers. Because we're going to make it happen together, and we're going to get more and more people involved and back in this game. So, we're going to make some FDS t-shirts or something like that. We'll see what happens. But, yeah, that's really all I got for tonight, guys. Thanks again. Hang out, wait for the after show, and we'll do some streaming, some gaming, and, you know, answer your questions. If you have other questions or anything, always send them into the show via my Twitch. And other than that, that's all I got for tonight, guys. So, for me, Zealous, and Bacon, say goodnight, guys.
Good night.